Hello, my name is Ellyn Goodrich. I will be sharing a patient perspective. Before I was a patient, I was a mom. I am blessed to have three amazing sons, Harrison, Gavin, and Drake. We live in the Pacific Northwest on a remote island accessible only by boat or plane. It is rather idyllic, with rush hour consisting of ranchers moving their sheep from one farm to another. I spend my days at the local elementary school where I am a special education teacher. I love my job. But my world turned upside down in December of 2016 when a trip to the emergency room resulted in hearing those three words: "You have cancer." I was airlifted to Seattle. I had a liver resection and was diagnosed with intrahepatic cholangiocarcinoma. Because of the size of the tumor and the high recurrence rate, I was advised to follow the standard of care: 6 months of chemotherapy with a cocktail of cisplatin and gemcitabine. I was able to have my infusions on the island as there was a new hospital with a cancer center and an oncologist that flew to the island once a week. Usually, I was the only patient in the center. I followed that with 6 weeks of radiation and a course of capecitabine. I had to have this treatment off island, in America, as we say, and I went back to Virginia Mason in Seattle, where I had my resection. I spent the weekdays in Seattle and would fly home on weekends to be with my children. I'm a single mom and fortunate that my parents were able to fly from Las Vegas to Friday Harbor each week to stay with my boys. While it was challenging being away from my family, my stay in Seattle gave me time to pause, reflect, and redirect my care. For the past several years, I have been going full bore, especially since the diagnosis. I did not have much time to process all of the changes that had happened. I was fortunate that I had great care with my local oncologist, but I realized that I needed specialized care, and I found an amazing team at Seattle Cancer Care Alliance. I met Dr. Bill Harris, and I knew instantly that I was with the right oncologist for me. He offered an aggressive approach, shared that science was leading the way in new treatments, and he helped me find my voice. He did not sugarcoat my diagnosis, but it was the first time that I had heard hope. On our first meeting, he asked me for my genomic profiling, and I had no idea what that was, nor had any other provider mentioned it to me. He explained it, but he said that since I was currently doing radiation, had no evidence of disease, and that insurance would not cover the profiling, I should wait to see if I would even need the test. Fast forward a few months, and a routine scan showed that Calangio was back. I went from stage 2B to stage 4 pretty quickly. This was February 2018. My molecular profiling was ordered, and my Foundation 1 report showed that I had the FGFR mutation. Well, this was good news, as it meant that I was eligible for a targeted therapy. So began my education, and I devoured every website, clinical trial database, and daily Google alert focused on the FGFR mutation. This information was power, and it was the first time in this crazy journey that I felt like I had some control. I had a challenging time getting into trials, but third time's a charm, and I made it into the Fight 202 trial featuring pemigatinib. I love the name, and I was ready to engage in battle. I always kept studying the Foundation 1 report as I was searching for new advancements and new trials. I needed to have plans B, C, and D ready to go in case the trial didn't work. I was Bobby Fischer. Scans and labs are important features to any trial, and I had CT scans every 9 weeks. I had a partial response, and my disease was stable. It was fantastic. And while I was grateful, I knew that this was only going to last a certain amount of time. Even so, I was unprepared when in August of 2019, 1 year after starting the trial, scans revealed that I had progression and that I had to go off. I had a liver ablation and a biopsy 2 months later, and another genomic profiling test. The molecular sequencing on the tumor revealed that I had the same mutation and that I can go back on an inhibitor drug. Again, good news, as there was talk I had become resistant. My hope was to stay on targeted therapies and avoid infusion chemo. I started Belversa in January of 2020, another FGFR inhibitor drug that had been approved for metastatic bladder cancer. The side effects were a bit rough, and as my doctor talked about lowering my dose, my new school insurance decided it could no longer cover my prescription. Now I was without a plan. As I moved forward, it showed I had active disease, but it was actually moving slowly. And my team decided that I should let my body heal, stay away from hospitals, as COVID was in the Northwest, and wait for pemigatinib to receive FDA approval. As we all know, this happened last April. This was huge. It signaled hope, and it also meant that my insurance company can no longer deny this life-saving drug. Well, my next set of scans revealed more progression, and I needed to start treatment right away. In June, I started Pemazyre. I've been on this drug almost 10 months, and the ride has been a little rocky. I celebrated the new year in Seattle as I needed more radiation. I had 8 treatments of IMRT for a pesky spot near my heart, and I've had to take a break because of side effects. I'm hoping to hear of some new options at this conference and excited about the poster presentations. I know Dr. Harris will map out a new path for me. Like many patients, I put on a strong face for my family and friends, and I try to show that I'm filled with hope and optimism. I smile and pretend that my body doesn't ache and that I'm okay with losing my hair and my fingernails. I feel like I need to be a cheerleader most of the time. In my head, I always hear the grim statistic that only 2% of patients survive this cancer in 5 years. I think of the dozens of patients that I have met with CC and how many of them have gained their angel wings. I wonder if I have reached my expiration point now that I've been living with this for 4 years. Will my next scan reveal even more progression? I know this is an aggressive cancer, and every new ache or pain or twinge takes me to that dark place that the cancer has returned. But I try not to stay in that place too long and remember all of my blessings, as I have many. I have an incredible family and wonderful friends. My oldest son is graduating from college this May, and I plan on seeing him get that diploma. I still work full-time, and I've managed to do so throughout all of my treatments. One of the biggest blessings has been through the Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation. Before I heard about CCF, I never met anyone with this type of cancer. I never even heard of this type of cancer. Then I met Lisa Crane and Melinda Bikini, the patient advocates, and my world instantly became brighter. They shined their experiences as survivors. They introduced me to other cholangio warriors, and they showed me that I can be informed and a strong advocate for my care. I was not alone anymore. This conference means the world to me. It gives me access to all the powerhouses that are working so hard to find treatments and cures. Dr. Harris is here. I can reconnect with other warriors. I feel like I'm attending a family reunion, even though I've not met most of the people in attendance. It looks a bit different in our virtual world, but the love and support are still shared. This is inspiration. This is hope. Thank you for allowing me to share my story. Thank you to the Foundation for all of the work that you do in research, patient awareness, advocacy, and especially for all the hope that you have brought and continue to bring to our lives. Thank you to the researchers, scientists, and doctors for working tirelessly to give us more tomorrows. And thank you to my fellow warriors for continuing to inspire and for bringing so much love and grace to this diagnosis. Much appreciation.